So you're sitting on your couch just scrolling through your favorite streaming service. There's thriller, there's horror, there's comedy, action comedy, there's romantic comedy, there's drama, melodrama, docuseries, documentary, science fiction, western, indie, biopics, mystery. You keep scrolling, you see something that maybe looks alright, but maybe there's something better, so then you just keep going. You watch a trailer, and suddenly you realize 30 minutes has just gone by and you haven't picked a movie, and now you actually don't have time to watch 2-hour long feature film. You only have enough time to watch a 40-minute episode of some TV show. So then you start scrolling through TV shows. Another 30 minutes passes by, you're running out of time, you say screw it, I'm just gonna lie in bed and scroll through TikTok until I fall asleep. We've all been there, right? Or is it just me? It is tough picking a movie, TV show, or even a YouTube video.
Can't decide.
Decide? Oh no, no deciding. Too stressful.
Either just due to personal indecision, or maybe you're in a big group and it's sort of hard to get to a consensus. I've heard of some methods people use to pick movies. They write a bunch of titles and put it into a hat and pick one, and whatever they pick out, that's the movie. Or people scroll through, and then if two people say the same title, then that's the one that they all agree to watch. It's just a lot of effort to pick a movie, which just seems like such a simple task. While it might feel like being presented with all these options means that we have more freedom and more possibilities, which means that we should be able to find the exact right show that'll satisfy our cravings. But actually the opposite is true. At the crux of this indecision and inability to choose a movie is what's called the paradox of choice. And this is something that was explored by psychologist Barry Schwartz in his book titled The Paradox of Choice, which I'll admit I have not read, but I watched his TED Talk, so I'm pretty much an expert. And of course, this phenomenon is not just limited to picking movies. It's around us in everywhere we go, picking a restaurant, and then once you get to the restaurant, picking a dish. Or it even, relates back to finding a relationship, meeting people, but then knowing that you can go on dating apps and find even more people. So you're weighing up these options that you've got in front of you and options that you don't even know that you've gotten that are just around the corner. How are we meant to make a choice?
I can't choose.
But let's bring this all back into the context of picking a movie. So the first element of the paradox of choice is the paralysis of choice. There are just so many options, and we want to make the best choice because we only get to watch one movie tonight. And our time is valuable, so we want to make sure we're comparing it against the other options we got and making sure we make the right decision. We're thinking about who directed it, what actors are in it, what rating did it get on Rotten Tomatoes, what rating did it get on IMDb, what are my favorite YouTubers saying about it. And then we need to compare all this stuff across all the options that we've got in front of us, as well as all the options that we don't even know exist yet. Like, what if I'm on Netflix trying to decide what Netflix movie to watch, but the movie that I really want to watch is on HBO Max? Like, I haven't even considered that entirely. So that's just a whole nother can of worms. But that's just a whole bloody lot of work, and we can get stuck. The second effect is when we actually overcome the paralysis of choice. We end up choosing something, but then we end up less satisfied with the result than if we had less options to choose from in the first place. Let me try and explain this. Say if you watched a movie or a show and it's not 100% what you wanted, and it didn't exactly scratch that itch that you were hoping it would scratch. And I'd say it's pretty rare to watch something that you feel is perfect or exactly what you wanted in the first place. It's just so easy to imagine that you could have made a different choice that would have been better.
Should I have?
And this imagined alternative option prompts you to regret the initial decision that you made. Even if it's just a tiny little bit. That bit of regret just subtracts from your total satisfaction from watching the movie. Even if objectively, you made a good choice. The opportunity cost is what subtracts. Whenever you choose one thing, you're actively not choosing something else. And those other things have a lot of attractive features, which makes what you've got and what you chose less attractive. The fact that people were previously content with flicking on the TV and just seeing whatever was on and flicking through channels until they either just got bored or they just settled on something, that demonstrates that people weren't necessarily dissatisfied with the fewer options before. But I mean, if you sat down and did that now, you'd be crazy because you'd be thinking about all the things that you could just be actively choosing to watch. Like, you can literally watch anything on demand now. Why are you just gonna flick through channels aimlessly and not even know what's on there? The third effect is the escalation of expectations. With all these options available to you, expectations are bound to go up. If you can choose between 1,000 movies or 1,000 YouTube clips, surely there's one of them out there that will satisfy you. Whereas if there's only one or a few choices, and you know those choices are pretty your expectations are naturally already low. Adding options to people's lives can't help but to increase the expectations that those options are good. Otherwise, why are they being added? And as a result, it produces less satisfaction even when those options are still good. And the fourth effect is self-blame. Now, this one's pretty heavy and it's not necessarily tied to watching movies, but more generally tied to the paradox of choice that permeates through our life in general.
Well, I can't decide.
When your choices are extremely limited and the options are bad, whatever you end up choosing, you tend to blame the world at large for that bad option. Whereas if there are multitudes of options and you choose a bad one, who do you think you naturally would turn to blame? Yourself. Because I mean, you picked it. You picked the 1 out of 1,000, so you've got to live with that choice. This feedback loop just makes making choices even tougher. If you make a bad choice, you blame yourself, so then you want to spend longer deciding what choice to make so that you make the right choice. But then choosing gets harder, then you get paralyzed by the choices back at the beginning. So what have the reactions to this effect actually been? I mean, you can see on YouTube and Netflix, they now obviously use a recommendation system. They've got an algorithm that analyzes what you watch, how long you watch it, to work out and build a profile of you as an individual and recommend you things that other people with a similar profile have also liked and enjoyed. And this is obviously in an attempt to assist people in making choices and not just giving them a whole catalog and saying pick one, but trying to funnel them in a specific direction. But this also just opens up a whole new topic, dealing with the topics that were brought up in that movie, The Social Dilemma, that talk about the risks of having an algorithm that's just specifically designed to keep you engaged and on that platform, and pushing the most enticing and salacious videos onto the users. But that's just a conversation for a different video. I mean, look at TikTok. How they've combated this is they don't even let you choose anything. You just go on the For You page, it just feeds you videos. If you don't like the video, doesn't matter, you just keep swiping next. The videos are so short, it doesn't even cost you anything really. But you keep scrolling and you're scrolling there for 30 minutes and you've not really watched anything. So how's that any better? To put it simply, unfortunately there is no simple solution to making choices. But my main takeaway is to temper your expectations. There is a balance that needs to be struck. Yes, we should take our time and think about the choices that we make, but when it comes down to, what you're gonna eat for dinner, or what movie you're gonna watch tonight, there's always other opportunities for you to watch those movies and eat those things. So we shouldn't really be putting that much pressure on ourselves to pick the right choice. So stop stressing about all the options, just give yourself 5-10 minutes, flick through, just pick something and just watch it. Or don't. It's up to you. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.